Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jillian and this is Simply Budgets. Here on my channel, my husband and I are on a journey to become debt-free. We use a zero-based budget and cash stuffing method to keep us on track. Our biggest goal is to pay off our debt and simplify our budget. If this is something that interests you, stick around. Okay, I thought I would walk you guys through my spreadsheet that I use. I still haven't figured out how to use screen capture, and I'm actually on my work computer because I like it. The monitors are a little bit bigger and I find it a little bit easier to see than on my Mac. I'm on a PC, but I think my work has it blocked so that I can't record my screen because every time I try to do what it says on the internet, it doesn't let me. So we're just going to carry on with what we've got here. So what I want to show you is, sorry, this is a really weird angle and I'm not quite sure how to get it any nicer than it is, so I apologize. So what I do is each month, we start out by putting in what I budgeted for an income. So that would be this cell right here, 4106 for my paycheck. And I budgeted $4,099 for my husband's paycheck. And we were not sure what we were getting for our tax refund, so I did not fill anything in here, as you can see. And then so I only fill in any of the spaces that are white at the beginning of the month when I'm doing my budgeting. And I'll show you a little bit on the May budget because I'll show you the difference of what it looks like at the beginning of the month versus the end of the month for me. So then I go over here and I put in how much I've budgeted in our budget for our RSPs, like basically the pay, it's like it says here, the pay yourself first. So our emergency fund buffer, and I have it labeled emergency fund buffer, but that's our checking account buffer. I like to make sure that we have about $1,000 as a buffer every month. So if we've overspent on one month, it's not going to break us. We're not going to have to go into debt for that. I calculate how much we are planning to put into our RSPs for each of us and our tax-free savings account. And then what we have is savings that's actually our month ahead. I don't have it labeled as month ahead because once we, excuse me, once we hit our month ahead goal, then that savings challenge is actually going to be something else. So whether it be our funding an emergency fund, funding other savings. So I didn't want to label it as anything specific, but I know when I'm doing this budget that when it says savings, that's our month ahead. So I only budgeted $80 for that. And I actually was able to put $770 into it. So there's a difference of $690 into our month ahead. And as you can see, I didn't plan anything for our emergency fund buffer, but we were able to put $625, so that meant that we were positive $625 into that buffer. So if I scroll over now to the debt section, you can see that we have we have 5 debts that have been paid off. We are now down to the final 3. And you can see that basically I budgeted $668 for Iberostar, and that is what was paid. Budgeted $923 for line of credit. We actually paid $1,032 on that. So we were able to put an additional $109 onto that. And RBC loan, we just paid what was owing on it. I know originally when I had talked about this Iberostar, we really want to pay it down as fast as possible. But the way that the payments for this is set up, it's very challenging for us to make extra payments. When I go online, basically I have 2 options. I can pay the remaining balance, or I can it just charges my credit card every month for that monthly bill. So what we've decided to do is aggressively pay off our line of credit, which is our home equity line of credit. Once this is paid down enough that we can hit the balance of what's left outstanding on the Iberostar, we're going to make a lump sum payment and save for ourselves the difference in the interest. And then what we can do is we can roll over the $668 that we've been paying on that, plus all the additional that we've been paying on the line of credit, and really aggressively pay down that line of credit. So that is that. Now we'll move over here to the expenses. So you can see I've put in our monthly, these are I call them our fixed expenses, because anything that's a variable expense, I've kind of set up a sinking fund for. So these are the amounts that I know every month are going to be fairly static. There shouldn't be a lot of variation in it. The only thing might be the groceries, eating out, and gas. But as you can see, I only had one additional line for sinking funds, so I chose to keep these over here. So we've got life insurance, our mortgage, internet, home and auto insurance, TELUS, Trupanion, our banking fees, which were a little bit higher, but I have called the bank and gotten that sorted out, so they should be better next month. Our TV, we spent $80 towards that. Nova Scotia Power, we pay that every 2 months, so each month I set aside what half of that payment would be. Heating, we budgeted for $500 and ended up setting aside $525. I'm not sure why that's higher, because we haven't had our oil filled. So this is actually just sitting in, oh, I know why it's higher, because I think we put aside like $125 each week or something like that, or $150, I'm not sure, but anyway, we actually haven't had our oil tank filled this month, so this is actually just sitting in the bank account waiting for the next time we have an oil fill. Property taxes, we budgeted $380, but I wanted to pay the outstanding on our property taxes in one lump sum, so that's what we did, and so it was an additional $95 towards that this month. Groceries, we budgeted $400 and we actually spent $420 on groceries this month. And that is the one thing that I do like about this budget Excel, like this Excel sheet for the budget, is because it shows us a little bit easier when we go over our budget. So I can see that we overspent our groceries by $20. Eating out, we budgeted $160, we only spent $160. Gas, budgeted $300, but we did end up spending $375. And spending was budgeted $400, but due to the fact that we got a little bit extra, as you can see up here, in tax refund, we splurged and gave ourselves an additional $75 each, which is why this is above at $150. And so how we keep, and then I guess I'll go over the sinking funds next, and then I'll talk about this column over here on the far left. So in sinking funds, we've got vehicle maintenance, budgeted $100, actually put $200 into it this month, so we were positive $100. Home maintenance budgeted $180, put $280, so again up $100. Subscriptions and memberships, we only budgeted $40, but we actually put $105 in, so there was an additional $65. Household didn't put anything extra in, so it got the $100 that was budgeted for. Miscellaneous also did not get any extra, so it just got the $100. Self-care also only got the $40 it was budgeted for. Anniversary is actually lower than what we budgeted. It was budgeted for $80. We only stuffed $60 into it this month, so you can see there's a deficit of $20 here. Travel, we budgeted $200, put $470, and so we were up $270. And you might wonder, well, why did you put extra into your travel if you weren't actually going, like if you were not having enough to put into anniversary? So there are 3 that didn't get their allocated amounts this month: anniversary, gifts and special occasions, and golf membership. The reason we chose not to stuff those was my husband's last paycheck was slightly less than what we had anticipated, and the extra that we had put in, we'd already taken care of that the previous week when we actually got our tax return. So we'll easily be able to like hit our goal. Like anniversary, I chose not to stuff that this past week because it is our budget, our amount that we've allocated, like our goal for that one is 500. And as you can see over here, we're already at 420. So we're only $80 away from that. So we have 3 weeks of stuffing at $20, 4 weeks, sorry. So by the end of May, we'll have reached our goal for anniversary. So I'm not worried about the fact that we skipped it for 1 week. Travel, we would really like to travel in the fall, and so we would like to have as much money set aside to travel in September as possible. So as you can see, that by putting the additional $270 in there, that we are ending the month with a balance of $700. Christmas, we budgeted $120, stuffed $170, so we are positive $50 in that, so that puts us at $570 for our grand total. Gifts and special occasions, allocated $60 only, stuffed $45, so we are in a deficit of $15 for that. But we have $100 in that account, and we have 2 birthdays in May that we need to shop for, and then there are no more birthdays in our family until September. So this has given us $50 per person, and that was what I have budgeted for each of the people that I need to purchase for the month of May. So I was okay with skipping it this month. We'll be able to more than make up for, like, by the time September comes, we'll have recovered that difference. Mother's Day and Father's Day was budgeted $40, but when I was looking at what we had, our goals for each of those, I realized that we were going to be significantly below what we had hoped for to have for Mother's Day and Father's Day. Because each of those occasions, we host a brunch here at my house for my family, as my husband and I are the only ones in our family that do not have children. So this is a nice way for us to be able to treat the people in our family that do have children so that they don't have to worry about either one of them cooking or trying to take care of their significant other on those days. So we host a brunch each of those events, and our goal for Mother's Day was $200 and our goal for Father's Day was $250. And that includes, excuse me, the money for the brunch as well as the gifts that we would purchase for the mothers and fathers in our lives. So, when we got our tax refund, I chose to put extra in that. So we are up to $45 in that, but that means we are on par to hit our goal of $200 for Mother's Day. And then with the additional $5 a week that we're putting into Father's Day, by the time Father's Day rolls around, we will have hit our goal of $250 for that one. Golf membership, we budgeted $80, only stuffed $60. So there's a deficit of $20 there. I'm okay with that. The golf membership is not going to come due until next spring, as my husband has already purchased his golf membership for this year. So I'm not, like, you can see the starting balance was $1,050. He spent $1,050 out of it. So we're $60 towards his membership for next year. So if there are a couple months that we need to skip that are lower, I know we'll have months that we're going to have higher incomes. So we'll make up for that time then. Personal taxes was 20 and 20, so that's fine. We're not up or below on that. Professional license, again, we stuffed the 40, the allocated amount, and medical and dental as well got the 20 that it was allocated for. Pet care, we budgeted for $160. We actually put $215, so we are up $55 because the dogs needed, they needed food, the cat needed food, and there were also a couple vet visits in the month of April, so those were taken care of there. Property taxes, we had not budgeted anything in this sinking fund because we were going to just spend over here in the expenses. But because we paid all the outstanding balance that was left owing on our property taxes over here, we're now saving up towards the next bill, which we should be getting any time now, and it's going to be $656. So from our tax refund, we put the entire amount for the next property tax bill that's coming into a sinking fund. It's not actually in one of our binders. It is sitting in the bank allocated for that. Given got nothing this month, and the emergency fund, we hadn't thought that we were going to have any money to put towards it, but we did end up putting $320 towards our emergency fund. We're working towards having $10,000 in the bank, and this has been a help because we had $1,000 previously, and so now, well, we had more than $1,000, as you can see, based on how much we've been putting in. We now have $1,815. So $1,815 in the bank for our sinking funds. And I really like the fact that this tallies, it tallies everything that we have set aside in our sinking funds. It says we have $6,245 for our sinking funds. I am not sure that that's correct. That seems really high, but I'm going to have to add that up and see whether that is correct or not. You can see over here, this is the formula that's there, but I'm not, it's showing that that's all that it's adding up. So it very well could be correct. I mean, we got 5, 7. Yeah, it could be correct. So, but not all of this is sitting in envelopes. Some of this is in the bank, obviously, because this 1,815 is definitely not in an envelope. I think we only have like $200 in that envelope right now. Everything else is in the bank. So then the nice thing about this Excel spreadsheet is that I can show how we spend from our memberships each month. So it makes sure that these balances add up, and it does. I also track on paper what's in those, or I do track some of them on paper to what's in those sinking funds. But it's also easy. I can just count what's in those envelopes, and if it matches this, we're golden. So I'm going to slide back over here to this transactions tab. And this is where everything that happens for the month we record. So get a paycheck, record the amount. How much I put into RSP, it's recorded here. So all of those transactions that happen through the month all get recorded here, and that's where these totals that are colored in are calculated from. So I really find this a great way. It's a visual. It shows me the actual monthly spend, where our money is going. So 27% of our income this month went towards sinking funds, 39.3% went to expenses, 15.3% went to savings, and 18.4% went to debt. It also shows me on a bar graph what we budgeted versus what actually came in. So you can see I budgeted so much for expenses, but we spent over that. Sinking funds only budgeted a small amount. We were able to significantly increase that. Debt payments were pretty much on par. Pay yourself first, we put quite a bit more into savings this month, and our income, as you can see, was a bit higher. So that is this is our, okay, so this is the other thing that I really like, is this shows us what I budgeted to spend on things. And then this over here, this pie chart is what actually happened. So due to the increase in the income, you can see that things were a little bit different. Sinking funds were only budgeted for 16.8% and they got 27%. Pay yourself first, we only budgeted 6% and we actually were able to do 15.3%. Debt was going to get 25.2% of our projected income, but because we had more, it ended up being 18.4%. And then expenses were going to be 52% of our original income, but because we had more income come in, they ended up being only 39.3%. So I really like this visual. You can see over here, the budget was $6,259. and the variance matches, so I like that. And then this amount is how much I have left to budget and then how much I have left to spend. So that means that I've budgeted everything except for $14, which is just going to stay as a buffer in our account. And our transactions actually match the exact because these numbers are the same. So that is the Excel spreadsheet that I have been using. I really like it. The colors are very easy on the eyes. I'm really enjoying this tracking. It makes it very easy for me to set up my budget at the first of the month. I am duplicating this though, because I do know that, you know, it's kind of nice to have a paper copy of things as well, but I'm thinking that I might actually be liking the budgeting on this Excel spreadsheet a little bit more. So I'm not sure what I'm going to continue doing and what I'm going to film in the future. If I'm going to film on the computer, I do need to find a better way to screen capture this. I will try on my Mac and see if I can get it to look a little bit better for you guys. But that is the budget spreadsheet. So now I'm going to pop over to the budget that I have set up for May. So as you can see, there's no pie chart here for the actual monthly spending because we've not spent anything yet. The only thing that's showing on the bar graph is the budgeted because it's not May yet, so there have been no transactions recorded. And there should be nothing in the actual columns of any of these because nothing has happened for the month of May as of yet. All I've done is input the numbers of what we have budgeted. So May is actually going to be what we call a magic month for us. So I will get 3 paychecks this month. So you can see I have an extra paycheck recorded here. So that is going to put our projected income for the month at $10,257. So that means that the budgeted monthly spending, 20.9% of our budgeted income our income that we have budgeted for the month is going to go to sinking funds. We're going to put 17.1% towards savings, 22.9% towards debt, and our expenses are going to get 39.1% of our income. So you can see I've allocated more to go to our line of credit. Iberostar is just going to get its original amount, and the loan is going to, because we pay weekly, it's going to get $587. We are putting a bit more towards savings and the buffer this month, and we are not increasing anything on our regular sinking funds, but we are going to put a little bit of money into giving so that we can start maybe giving bigger tips or any sort of thing like that, maybe make a donation to a charity. And emergency fund is going to get $300. So you'll see that I'm not putting anything for property taxes, and I've significantly lowered how much we're budgeting for heat because the weather is getting warmer here. So we're hoping that we won't need to have our oil tank filled again until the fall. So each month I'm going to allocate money for it. We might not spend it though, and it will just stay in the joint account. So at the end of the month, it might actually say that I spent $150, but that just means that I allocated $150 to our savings account or our joint account, whatever you want to call it. And that's just going to accumulate until it's time to actually pay our next oil bill. So I hope that explains things a little bit for you all. I hope you have enjoyed this. If you have any questions, or don't forget to put them in the comments below. Sorry, I am getting a little tired of talking. So as you can tell, my voice is giving it a little bit on me. It's 11:12 in the morning and I've been kind of working at this all morning. So, and I haven't eaten yet today. So my brain is just not working very well. So anyway, if you have any questions, definitely put them in the comments below. I would love to answer them. I hope you've enjoyed this. Giving me a thumbs up would be lovely. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.